to discuss the upcoming Neptune retrograde, which occurs on June the 28th, the same day as the Cancer new moon in a fellow water sign. So Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It is a mutable energy, which means movable. And Neptune and Pisces rule the 12th house, the final house of the zodiacal wheel. And so this is where our spirit leaves the body and moves on into the afterlife. So it is not attached to physical form. It's very nebulous. It's very foggy. It's not even a water element. It's the mist, life beyond the physical veil. And so when we have a Neptune retrograde, and right now Neptune is currently transiting its home sign of Pisces and has been since 2012. And annually, Neptune retrogrades for about half the year. And so it will station retrograde on the 28th at 25 degrees of Pisces. It's in the final degrees of the sign that it rules. And it will station direct on December 3rd at 22 degrees, which is a critical degree. So it only moves a few degrees. This is an outer planet, a very slow moving planet. And so we think that the outer planets really don't affect us on a personal level, that these are not felt as immediately. However, during this retrograde, a lot of the personal planets are at play. And so we will discuss that and some dates involved. When Neptune is retrograde, it's a little bit different than the other retrogrades because Neptune, being this ambiguous planet of illusion, fantasy, escapism, and also spirituality. It's where we connect on a spiritual vibration beyond this physical realm. And so we have a lower and a higher vibration of every planet, every sign, every energy that we can choose to operate in. And so this can show up in forms of escapism, anything that we do to not feel, deal, and sometimes heal can be found in that Pisces ruled house, or where Neptune is currently in your chart, in your transits, or in your natal placement. And so this is a time when Neptune retrogrades that we actually see a little more clearly areas that we have been self-deluding, areas that we have been caught up in the dreaminess of the situation. Have we been in an illusory type of experience? And so when it's retrograde, the fog kind of clears a bit. It's never completely solid when you're dealing with Neptune or Pisces energy, but the retrograde does serve us to see, is this dream world based in any kind of reality that can be a lived experience? Or have I been operating in self-deluding or self-deprecating behaviors that don't serve me? Or have I been using this energy to connect with my higher consciousness, to increase my psychic abilities, my awareness of the subtleties of spirit? And now how can I bring this into a lived reality, into an experience that is grounded in this human incarnation? So even though this is an outer planet, it does affect us in our personal lives, because during this retrograde, we will be able to kind of have a reality check to see areas of our lives where this dream that has been brewing during the first half of this year, because Jupiter was transiting with Neptune, the ancient and modern ruler, for the first half of the year. Up until this point, Jupiter just recently, last month, moved out of Pisces into Aries and will retrograde back into Pisces. And so because they're the ancient and modern rulers, Jupiter expanding everything that it touches, it could have increased this illusion energy, this ambiguous feeling like we're swimming in a sea of lacking direction, lacking solidarity, lacking form. And we could have also felt extremely tired, very lethargic. and find ourselves practicing forms of escapism. And so this is a time where we can self-reflect and say, hey, has this gotten out of hand? Is this serving my best and highest good? Is this raising my spiritual vibration, or am I spiritually bypassing? Am I self-deluding? This shows us where things are a little too outer worldly, right? And so Jupiter and Neptune had a conjunction, a once in a lifetime conjunction on April 12th, really expanding our higher spiritual intuitive abilities. This is also an energy that is still permeating and will continue when the year ends as Jupiter moves back into Pisces. So it has very positive influences, the Neptunian energy. It has the ability to allow us to connect with our intuitive abilities, our psychic knowing, our inner instincts, and with source energy. And so we can use this retrograde as a form of bringing that into our lives on the daily. Now, during this retrograde phase that lasts until December, a lot of the personal planets are at play. And I'm going to give you the dates of those. The first one is Mercury, which rules our communication. Mercury will connect, and all these are squares, which are tense aspects requiring reconciliation, right? So Mercury will square while he's in Gemini, while Mercury is in Gemini, I should say he or she, because Mercury is a neutral planet, on July 2nd will be in a square to Neptune while Mercury is transiting its ruling sign. And so because Gemini and Mercury rule lots of conversation and communication, discernment is key under this square. Really tap into that instinctual knowing, tap into your higher consciousness, your higher self, to discern what the truth is in the energy that's coming in with this. And then Mercury will connect in another square on December 1st, but at that point, Mercury will be in Sagittarius. And so this is a type of aspect, a tense aspect, which could cause us to really question our own spiritual beliefs. You know, are they grounded in reality? Is this what I truly believe? And so just be aware of that. Again, the key with Neptune is to have that spiritual connection, that reprieve from ourselves by connecting with our source energy and during this time, and that will help during that square aspect. Also, Venus, the goddess of love, Lady Luck, will be in Gemini. All of the personal planets are moving through Gemini. And on July 14th, Venus creates this square to Neptune. And so because Venus rules what we value in terms of love and money, our desires can delude us under this. This kind of goes back to that energy of Jupiter and Neptune together in Pisces in the first half of the year, where we could have entered into some really, dreamy, romantic interactions in our lives. And so this Venus squaring Neptune can kind of show us areas that we have been deluded by our desires, and how do we reconcile that now? And then Mars in Gemini will make a square twice to Neptune, once on October 12th and then on November 19th. And interestingly, these are also October and November are also the months that we will have the second set of eclipses. So the fact that Mars is squaring Neptune during October and November, the same months that we have the second set of eclipses on the Taurus-Scorpio axis, really could challenge us to reconcile where we're taking action. Are we moving towards our dreams? And is our dream tangible? And so we could be at this place during those months where we're not sure exactly where we should move, where we should direct our focus, our passion, our drive, our determination with Mars, our personal planet of drive. And so what I would say during that time, both of those times, is to really discern with your spirit whether you're moving towards a dream for your future, or if this is something that will be passing. Now, the fact that Neptune is retrograde, giving us a little bit of a clearer view, as clear as you can really get with that very misty, spongy energy, is that this is happening at the same time that Saturn is retrograding. So they both kind of give us a reality check. They both kind of give us a stern look at what is real, what is a karmic cycle that's repeating in terms of escapism tendencies, or if this is something that we need to course correct that will allow us to really focus on our true aspirations, our true dreams for the future. Now, the mutable signs will be most affected by this transit because Pisces is a mutable sign, but we all have Pisces somewhere in our charts. And so we really want to look to that 25-degree area and see if this Neptune, or wherever Neptune is in your chart, if natally it is being aspected by this transitory Neptune, and what do you have at 22 to 25 degrees, and see if this is being squared, sextile, trine, what is going on with this to other planets. So we look to where that Neptune is falling in our own personal natal chart to have that kind of clearing effect to see if this is an area that we need to be honest with ourselves, to discover the truth about all that we have been swimming through for the first part of this year. And so as we get into December and all the other outer planets are starting to leave retrograde and the eclipses are finishing up, and of course that energy plays out for 5 to 6 months, maybe even longer afterwards, we can move into the beginning of next year with the truth of the dreams that we're aspiring to actualize in our lives, and remove any areas that have been self-sabotaging, that have been causing us to escape the physical plane in a negative way. It can also be a time during now in December where we can increase our connectivity with our spiritual intuitive abilities. This is our inner instincts. These are subtleties. These are the things that we discern that are very soft whispers of knowing, and really lean into that, really trust in that during this time, because it will help us to really get a focus on what is the dream that we are birthing for our future. We have all the planets moving through a lot of the outer planets moving through these last degrees of the signs that they're occupying, and a lot of the personal planets moving through their own ruling sign. And so it is an outer planet, but this is affecting us on a personal level because of the squares to Mercury, Venus, and Mars during the retrograde. And so it is a very potent time for us to use it to its highest benefit, which is to increase our connection to our spiritual knowing, to our own inner guidance system, and to know if we are being honest with ourselves, if others are being honest with us, and how we show up in the future, pursuing a dream that is clearer than it has been at this point. And so I hope that this gives you some direction, some confirmation, and something to focus on in your own chart. And feel free to reach out if you need a little bit more clarity. If you want to take a look at that in your own personal chart, you can certainly do that through the Astromatrix app. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that